Hey guys, Randy here with another video, another carburetor video. This time we're going to be discussing Venturas and the actual throttle plate butterfly size. So when we discuss the Ventura and the butterfly size, there's going to be a difference between them because the Ventura is the smallest part. This part right around here, that's the smallest part of the carburetor where the actual booster sits. Like here's a booster. And I got the booster out over here, so it's the smallest part right here versus the throttle plate size, which is this right in here, this size here. We earlier discussed putting a 750 main body, which actually this is a 750 main body, and we were going to put an 850 throttle plate on it. And we end up actually having to bore this out to make it fit the 850 throttle plate. And then we have to move the idle circuit, which I know I've been promising you guys a video on this particular deal here, putting the 750 body and matching it up with the 850 throttle plate. But we are going to do it. I'm just going to show you something I want you to be thinking about on all the Holleys. Think out of the box. So what we're doing, discussing today is the actual, we're talking about the actual size of what it comes out, the actual main body, and then we're gonna make the difference between the actual Venturi and the throttle plate, which is this. So the greater distance we have, in other words, we have much bigger throttle plates than we do the Ventura size, we're going to have much better acceleration. It's going to take a motor that maybe it has a little too much cam and the vacuum's a little low in the motor, and it will help it immensely because we're going to have a big throttle plate. If we put a big enough throttle plate here and then a small enough Ventura area, we're going to get a very quick, the throttle's going to open, that big throttle plate's going to open, and it's going to draw in that air through that small Ventura, and it's going to help the acceleration, period. That's just one thing to look at. And like I say, we're going to get to that other video. I want to do that, and I want to show you how the taper increases on these carburetors. Like the taper, can you see that, cameraman? Mm-hmm. The taper goes from smaller to bigger here, and as we match this to 850 throttle plate, it's going to get much bigger here. So you're going to get a greater distance of taper. In other words, you're going to have more taper travel as it goes from the actual Ventura to the bottom of the actual main body. And let's get busy and show everything. I want to show you some numbers first. Now the numbers I'm going to talk to you about is if you got the Holley book, if you got this book right here, or any Holley book that carries all the specs in it, I'm going to read you some off. I ain't going to really show you nothing right now where if you try to see this book, it's going to be upside down with me reading it. Okay, now we'll start off with the Dominators, a 1050 and 1150 Dominator. They have the exact same throttle plate size. They're both 2-inch. But the Ventura size on the 1050 is 1.690. So 1 inch, 690 thousandths big. The one on the 1150 is 1 inch, 830 big. So you only got, when you're talking about the 1150, you got 1 inch, 830 thousandths. Take away 2 inch from the throttle bore, so you only got 170 thousandths difference between the Ventura and the throttle plate, the actual throttle butterflies. Now you look up at the 1050, which is 100 CFM smaller, you got the same size throttle plate, but you're at 1.690. So now you're at 310 thousandths difference. If you subtract the 1.690 from the 2 inch, you're at 310 thousandths versus 170. Which one do you think is going to give you the best acceleration? Which one's going to speed the air up through the Ventura? It's going to be the smaller Ventura versus the same size throttle plate. And this isn't the only carburetor that's done that. The 750 Dominator, the actual 750 Dominator, is the exact same specs as the 1050. And I'm going to have to explain to you what they do. They both got 2-inch throttle plates. They both got a Ventura size of 1.690. But on the 750 Dominator, they only, I think, made a few of them. They, you know, as far as the different list numbers, they're all the same size, but they're the exact same size as the 1050 as far as the butterflies and the Ventura. But they put, when they put the booster in it, they put a skirt. They put an actual skirt around this booster. In other words, this booster is sitting in the carburetor, and then they're going to come out right here on the bottom edge and build like a little shoulder all the way around it. So that slows the airflow down. And that's how they got it down to what they're saying is a 750 CFM. It might be a little bigger, might be a little smaller, but I'm sure they got it close because Holley's really, I love Holley carburetors, period. I know you'd never know that. But anyway, that is the difference. Whether it be an annular booster or a step-down booster, straight leg booster, it don't matter much until you get into a skirted booster, and that does slow down the actual airflow. Now, real quick, let me show you one more real fast. Holley has a 950 CFM carburetor, they call it, and it's basically nothing pretty much but a 750 Ventura size, which is on a 750, it's a 1.3 760 versus a 1 3/4 inch throttle plate. And that's what we were doing. We modified the 750 and the 850 plate. With the 850 plate, we get that same basic carburetor. It's just then tuning it out. After that, you just got a very good combination. And there's several carburetors in this book like this. Get you a book that shows you all the specs on it. Shows you the Ventura size. If you look in the back of this book, it gives you pretty much everything. Butterfly size. And get it and look at, don't think just everything's the same. Look at the Ventura sizes from front to rear, the throttle plate sizes front to rear. If they got any type of a spread board, there's small spread board designs that just have a little bit bigger rear barrels. Then there's the full spread board that has small primaries and a giant, you know, big old, almost like a quadrijet, big barrels in the rear. Now, I want you to look at that and study that. And if you got this book, please look it over good. Look at them specs and match them up. It takes hours to do it, to look it over good. But you'll start understanding a lot more about carburetors, and you'll understand just like the difference between a step-down booster and a straight booster and an annular booster. Annular booster gives you a really good signal. Step-down booster is the next best signal probably, but it actually gives you a better race carburetor, I think, at some point. So it's a toss-up between the annular booster and the step-down booster. But what I want you to make, I want you to look and think. There's carburetors out there that actually have annular boosters in the front from a factory Holley, like for the GT Mustang. Some of them had an annular booster in the front and a straight leg booster in the rear. You've got to look and study everything. There's so much out there, and you'll understand. But if you've got a motor that has maybe a little weaker vacuum, you know, it's got a little too much cam in it, let's just say, this will help you get a bigger difference, the more difference in thousandths of an inch, or however you want to look at it, between your actual Ventura and your throttle plate. The more difference you have there, the smaller Ventura area versus the bigger throttle plate, the better acceleration you're going to have almost pretty much all the time. I mean, as long as you're within pretty much the carburetor that you need for that motor, you'll pick up acceleration. It will help you. It will definitely help you. It won't fix everything, Miss Max, but it will help. Look, guys, you look at this and you study this, and in about 3 or 4 days, I'm going to do another one. I'm going to show you something totally different, but it's on the same subject. And we'll talk again about that. But guys, if you like this kind of information, we're going to get into a lot of things that a lot of people just don't think about. I'm about half crazy when it comes to Holley carburetors. So that's just the way I am. So y'all have to look over that part of me. And I do have got my magic screwdriver. Without that, we'd all be in trouble. Guys, please, if you like all these different videos on these, would you please like, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell for our post notifications? I sure would appreciate it. And as always, I hope y'all have a great day, and I'll see you in about 3 days. Goodbye.